Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, colleagues. It's hard to believe it's already been 6 years. You've heard it a few times, and I can't believe it myself. I'd like to first start off by starting to thank certain people, particularly my wife, who I literally had to beg to run for political office to begin with. As a matter of fact, in my second term for township supervisor, it was a close race, and I found out in the wee hours that I won. And I says, well, I got a 4-year term. And she looked and she says, no, you've got a 4-year sentence. So township supervisors, for those that are out there, you know that's a very, very difficult job. I'd like to also thank my 3 kids, in particular my daughter Alicia that interned for me for 2 years. Anyone that knew Alicia knew that she was aggressive, she was spunky, and she knew how to pick her dad's wallet every day she was up here. As a matter of fact, I got a text from her one morning when she was here, and before I picked her up, and she sent me a text that says, Dad, I've got a bill for $3,500 that needs to be paid. I looked up her $529, and I says, well, you got $2,600. How do you expect to fill the rest? Trying to be responsible. I'm a CFP by background. I want her to understand the value of money. She shot back within 3 seconds with one word: strip. I pulled the checkbook out, and boy, that check came. So she's a great kid. She's married today, and I'd like to thank also the people of the 24th District. I'd like to thank my staff. I've been blessed through the years with some excellent staff. In particular, when I first started, Pam Weiss, Sue Sickley. I've been lost those first several months without you. Through the years, Sonny Cook, Steve Marino, who's going to be taking my place here in the 24th District. Steve was my intern. He looked like he was 16 back then. He looks like he's 17 today. But he's going to be a great state representative. My current front desk and longest running intern, he's up there today, Kyle McKee. Thank you for all your hard work. Joe Aragona, my back desk. Yeah, it's true. The reason I hired you, Joe, was because of the bag of tomatoes you brought to the interview that your dad packed. It worked. It worked. But it also worked that you were a great worker. You had passion for what you did. We rewrote the entire Credit Union Act, and you did a lot of great work on that, and you were recognized for it. Thank you for your loyalty. You're a true gentleman. Rich Adams, one of the best, most talented writers in Lansing. The policy people, particularly Elizabeth Dritman. Paul Holland, who's on House Fiscal, did an awesome job with me. The sergeants that keep us safe. Alice in the cloakroom. The coffee was terrible when we first got here, and she has done an awesome job making it right. You know, the reason I ran for public office, it was real simple. My kids were in college, and there were no jobs. The jobs weren't here in Michigan. My kids were looking outside the state, and that drove me crazy because I'm a son of an immigrant. My dad came to Michigan because this was the land of opportunity. This was the place, the promised land. And what did we do in the 50-some years that he was here to screw that up, where kids aren't looking in Michigan? And so that drove me to want to be here. And I'll tell you, as a son of an immigrant, my first day here was unbelievable. It was just, I felt a sense of historic significance when we went to go vote for the speaker. And there actually is a caucus room. And there actually is a caucus. I didn't understand any of these things early on. And walking outside to go pick up my wife and looking back and seeing the Capitol lit up, the dome lit up. Boy, late at night. What an awesome feeling that is. Certainly it was a sense of accomplishment, and I can't believe, and my dad certainly couldn't believe that the son of an immigrant could actually make it this far. So it was a great run. And I'd like to thank my Macomb County colleagues. Marilyn Lane, who's a great, dear friend. Mayor Lane, as I knew her before we came up here. She was a familiar face, one of my strongest friendships up here. Ken Goyke, you're the salt of the earth, man. Didn't know you before other than septic tank cleaning, but you've done a great job up here. Andrea Lafontaine, everyone wanted to know at one of our first meetings if you were my intern. And you've made a strong presence here. You've done an awesome job. And now you've got a wonderfully lucky man to call your husband. Sarah Roberts, we didn't always see eye to eye, Sarah. Who else can say that any two people have served together that went against each other in an election. Very difficult for both of us, but the other day we had a heartfelt conversation, and I always remember and appreciate that. Thank you. My redheaded Italian seatmate here, Pete Lucido. I asked to sit next to you. You've been entertaining. I wish you the best. John Shurkin and Derek Miller, other members of the Macomb County Caucus. Derek went on to become treasurer. My minority vice chair of financial services, Henry Yanez, thank you for the good work you did in our financial services committees. Jeff Farrington, my roommate, very special colleague, wears his emotions on his sleeve, good and bad. He's tough, did an excellent job guarding tax policy for the state of Michigan. Both of us were roommates. Our landlord was Pete Lund, who's up there. I'm not sure if you're getting paid for your time up there, Pete, but I've got a newfound appreciation for South Park, and now I know where Pete got all his political ideology. I felt like I belonged to a great approach team our first term. We did some heavy lifting. I thought it was normal to show up to work under a tunnel of signs, protest signs. I thought that was normal. I thought that was everyday Lansing. We had some out there today for a little bit, and people were shocked. This is nothing. We did some heavy lifting a few years back. The last 2 years, I decided to be on the policy team, and I enjoyed that. We did some good work on financial services as a CFP. That was a strong interest of mine, and I thank the speaker for putting me there. We've had some excellent speakers, speaking of that. Jace Bollinger and Kevin Cotter have both done a great job. Congratulations to the incoming speaker, Tom Leonard, and baby Orlando. Ask him about that later. Al Pashoka has done one of the finest jobs I've seen on approps. He's got a deep knowledge of government, understands the numbers, more importantly, knows how to communicate them. And certainly you've been one of the strongest voices in Lansing. To my Italian caucus members, one in particular I'll mention is Paul Clemente. I've never seen anybody that can look at a menu and order as if he's a poet and an opera singer. Paul gets it done. Scott DeAnda, also from the Italian caucus, he showed me up in the UP that Democrats in the UP are actually pretty conservative, maybe more conservative than some Republicans down here. Had some great times up in the UP. Scott, thank you. One thing that probably nobody here knows about me, but is just recently happened, my daughter's wedding, I got a text from the Italian consulate forwarded from the President of Italy that I was being knighted by the President of Italy. And that's happening this next week. So it was quite an honor, and I couldn't believe it. So, yeah, sir, to you. So anyhow, I'd like to thank my Senator Jack Brandenburg. He's been a great mentor and appreciate his service to our community. Joe Graves, sat by you, passionate, principled kind of guy, just right every day. Earl the Pearl, shared this row here for 2 terms. Enjoyed your wisdom, sir. Yonkers, well, actually, let me back up. Roger Victory, you've been thanked already once for this very same story that we'll always share. Thank you for the roots that you've given us, and thank you for the great story that we've been able to share about Ken Yonkers. Harvey Santana, you're an excellent rep. You know who your district is, and I appreciate being your short-term press secretary. That one day you had a little scuffle there, but good job. Lana Tice, you're thoughtful and one of the most read colleagues that I believe we have up here. And Leslie Love, your name says it all. I apologize for all the other reps. I'd love to mention, I'd like to thank the lobbyists that fight for their issues, and that's very important. That includes the citizens that come to our coffee hours. They lobby for their concerns, and that's an important part of our government. At our town halls and our offices, everybody has a lobby. Everybody. It's up to us as reps to know what the right issues are and how to vote. For the incoming freshmen, let me just say this: beware of the Lansing self-interest. They are the strongest lobby in this town. I learned dirty words when I was in approps. First one was economic adjustments, code word for we're increasing pay and we're increasing benefit costs, or called economic justice. Another dirty word, full-time equivalence, and what that means. And then the other thing, as on the PROPs, you know, don't look at PowerPoints, look at spreadsheets. Spreadsheets are what's going to tell you the numbers, not PowerPoints. Remember who you are, remember who you represent. It's been a pleasure to serve with each and every one of you, and always remember the honor it has been to be here for the rest of my life. Thank you for working together as a team that helped bring jobs back to Michigan and allowing Michigan to be the land of opportunity again. God bless.
Thank you, Representative Forlini.